truly believe in the next 2 years, between 100 and 200K for sure. By the end of next year, conservative 50 to 60K. 20K support, which I believe will be at the end of the first quarter next. That's when, you know, the crazy ride is going to come. And like, it's just hold on is for dear life.
From the new home of Bitcoin and all things crypto, this is a Genesis Education Blog podcast, and I am Bitcoin by Malks. Welcome. So guys, wishing you all a merry our season from before we get into 2021, and we might change things up a bit. Exciting year in the crypto space, but before I get into all of that, first and foremost, a big thank you to you, the listeners, you, the people who keep tuning in, you keep downloading the podcast, you keep listening, who keep commenting, sharing your views, sharing your and engaging with us. So we're quickly approaching Christmas. It's that time of the year when everybody should be engaging with friends, engaging with family, but obviously we've got this COVID situation hanging over our heads. For those who are in London, obviously we're under tier 4. What can I say? It's been emotional. It's been emotional. All I can say to people is just keep engaged with your families, your friends. Don't lose touch. This is an important time where you need your loved ones. So looking forward to 2021. It's going to be exciting. Definitely some takeaways of what we can do better next time around. But it's been enjoyable, and the narratives and the stories and the discussions are definitely a direction I plan to continue in. So on to today's show. Today's show is entitled Bitcoin is Going to the Moon. And this is a reference to the price of Bitcoin, especially in a bull market, which we seem to be in. Bitcoin is looking really bullish, which means the price of Bitcoin is reaching all-time highs, which we've recently seen in the last few. Now, on this podcast, I don't really tend to focus on. The reason why I do this is because the narrative around Bitcoin is so wide. And although the price is something which gets shoved in everybody's face, I do think it sometimes clouds the innovation of Bitcoin, what it actually is as a tool, what it actually is as a tool for protest, what it actually is as a savings technology, what it actually is as a way for people to store value and transfer value. So that's what we try to focus on more. But sometimes you just need to hear about that price action. And let's be honest, it's the sexy part of Bitcoin. And the price action on Bitcoin is what draws people in. It drew me in. And then I got into Bitcoin and I found out there was so much going on in the space. And I stayed here. With many public companies and institutions and pension funds now looking at Bitcoin as a speculative asset, we are now starting to see a supply shock as demand is growing for Bitcoin. So Bitcoin is currently experiencing record levels of new money being pumped into this monetary network. And as a result, the price predictions on Bitcoin are anywhere from 50K at the end of 21, that's from Mike Novogratz, to 250 to 300K from popular Bitcoin analyst Willy Woo, all the way to the Winklevoss brothers paper on a case for a 500K Bitcoin. For today's episode, we're going to strictly focus on the price and what's going to happen next, what we think is going to happen next. We are now approaching 12 months after the halving, and this is where things really tend to get spicy. So my guest for today is none other than Crypto Kenzie. Crypto Kenzie is a Florida-based influencer, YouTuber, and all-round bundle of energy. So I really wanted to look for someone who could come and talk about the price action on Bitcoin and really inject some excitement and just energy into the whole conversation. Crypto Kenzie is definitely that man for the job. So I'm going to be honest with you, like there's a lot of giggling, there's a lot of laughing from myself and Kenzie as we talk through the conversation. It's not as serious as my normal conversations, but it's definitely an interesting and exciting one. Crypto Kenzie is very passionate about crypto and Bitcoin and where this whole space is going. So please listen, enjoy, like, share, comment, and keep supporting. So on this note, I'll hand it over to you, Crypto Kenzie. Do your thing. Crypto Kenzie, how is your day? How is your day, my brother?
Terrible. I ain't get no Christmas gifts. I ain't get no coin. I ain't get no nothing. Like, I thought people loved me.
Yeah.
I really thought people cared. I'm out here giving this content. I'm over here trying to show people the way to this wealth transfer, and I didn't get one Christmas gift.
It's on its way,
one.
Man. You know who's gonna give it to you?
It's okay. Because actually yesterday, because I don't know how your audience, I don't know how well your audience has been in the space or how informed, but what is it, about a week ago, a week and a half ago, one of the biggest exchanges, Binance, they decided they finally hit the ban hammer, saying anybody from the US, you guys got to get off the exchange now. There's nothing you can do now. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Of course. Yeah.
US doesn't play, man. The US is like, nah, if you got one US user, get them off. Get them off now. So, so they recently sent out some letters, some emails to some US users saying, hey, if you have 14 days to take your money off of the exchange, or it's just going to be locked there. So I was just like, I haven't used Binance in over, and this is me personally, I haven't used Binance. I got to go back and log in to see when my last trade was, because I haven't used Binance in a long time because of how Ethereum and DeFi has been working. The moment I realized how to use that, I just stopped using Binance, because, I can either, if I'm going to use a centralized exchange, I might as well just use Coinbase, because they have a lot of coins now.
Yeah.
And I know Binance has a lot of other coins, but a majority of the stuff is in Ethereum to Persex. But I'm going way too far. But more of the story is, I went to Binance to see if I had any coins left on there. Yeah. And knowest behold, I had enough to get myself a Christmas gift. So I'm going to bless myself with a Christmas gift. Thank you, Mackenzie. You're welcome, Kenzie. My day's been pretty good so far.
But you never know.
Friday over here.
Satoshi might have a Christmas gift for you or a New Year's gift for you. Yeah.
Look, Satoshi's blessed me all year. Not even gonna lie. Satoshi blessed me all year. Satoshi, you did your job. You did your job. So I can't even get mad at Satoshi right now. It's just like, you know what, Satoshi, you gave me these coins. Well, you didn't give them to me. I bought them, but these coins keep going up in value. And it's all thanks to you, Satoshi. So you know what? Man. It's cool. Satoshi's black, but I can't speak ill will about Satoshi at all. Okay. But other than that, it's been pretty good. How about yourself? How's your Friday been?
It's Friday. Yeah, it's Friday. Christmas is around the corner.
You're broke.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. So where in the US are you? Well,
I'm down here in the sunny Florida, where all the crazy people are. Yeah, sunny Florida, Tampa, Florida to be specific.
Tampa, okay.
Where a lot of people in America say Florida is a terrible place to live, because we get hurricanes a lot.
Yeah.
And so we get like a hurricane almost, like if we don't get a hurricane once a year, we're guaranteed a hurricane once every 2 years. Yeah. And if we don't get one every 2 years, that third year, there is a monster coming. Yeah. Like it's literally been like that. Either we get a hurricane every year. If it misses a year, then we're gonna get one the second year for sure. And if it misses 2 years, just pray. Just pray after that.
Yeah, I remember being in Florida, Miami specifically, but
of course,
in 2005, being in a plane on the way to Miami during sort of Hurricane Katrina, and the turbulence on that flight. That's something that never left me. The feeling, like I saw grown men on the flight, literally, near tears, the way the plane was moving. And that's something that I always think about, being in a plane. Because when we got on the way to Florida or Miami, we didn't realize how grandiose or how big the whole Katrina thing was until we touched down. But yeah, so to even have landed was just a miracle. So that's what I remember from that period, of just being in the air over that, where the hurricane was probably going past, throwing the plane from one side to another.
Look, I wouldn't get on a plane after that.
Gives me chills just thinking about it now. Just gives me chills.
Look, I wouldn't get on a plane after that.
Yeah,
I'd lose my mind. I'd be like, but I remember it wasn't the first time that I got on a plane, or maybe it was the first time that I got on a plane. We flew from Florida to Louisiana, which is only like, an hour flight or whatever. It wasn't like a really long flight. We, it was a hop, skip, a jump away.
Yeah.
But it started raining. We had a storm come. And that turbulence when the storm, they're like, oh, don't worry, we have a small storm. We're just, just keep your belts on. Don't worry about it, guys. We're just gonna go. I'm like, what's going on? I'm like, this isn't a small storm. Yeah. And so I'm over here.
Exactly right. Yeah.
And my friends are over here like, you okay? Because this is the first time I'm on a plane, and we're hitting and I'm telling you, this turbulence, I promise you, I felt like we're gonna crash every time we felt something.
Crazy.
And then so next time, but someone told me you should take like a sleeping pill if you're really bad at planes. So if I ever have a really, really, really long flight, I'm taking a sleeping pill for sure.
Yeah. I try to be as tired as I possibly can when I'm going on a long haul flight. So I just try to sleep all the way. And that normally works for me. But anyway, today's show, we are talking about, is Bitcoin going to the moon? That is the title for today's show. And again, welcome to the Genesis Block Education Podcast. This is the last in this series. And so, just to give you a bit of context, on most of the podcasts that I've done, I tend to talk about the subjects that surround Bitcoin, whether it's the politics of Bitcoin, the economics of Bitcoin, how Bitcoin is being used as a tool for protest in certain countries, touch upon Bitcoin in so many aspects. And what I've tried to steer away from is the number go up and the price factor of Bitcoin. And that fundamentally is the thing that gets everybody into the space. But I've tried to purposely stay away from that, because from an education perspective, I really wanted to focus on the technology and the underlying value proposition of Bitcoin.
You speak like you're educated.
I'm a little educated. Just a little.
No, but, the underlying value. I'm like, hold up. You've been doing your research.
Yeah, I've tried to focus and shine light on other areas of Bitcoin, but we are in a bullish trend right now. If you've noticed, I don't know if you've noticed, but it's looking a little bullish out here. Yeah, looking a little bullish out here. I mean, just to put it into perspective, since I started this podcast, I think when I started them, which was roughly about 6 months ago, Bitcoin was trending at about 9.5K. And so it's pretty much doubled in price. So I just wanted to shine. Yeah, I just wanted to shine a little light.
Quick.
Yeah, 6 months. So I just wanted to shine a little light on the number go up, because really,
for once.
Yeah, just for one. Let's touch upon it. Let's do this. And so that, when I was looking for people who I could talk to, and I've come across a lot of your podcasts, and listen, I just love your energy. I just love your vibe. and I just love your story. So I just thought, let me reach out to Kenzie, get him on, let's talk about it. And here we are. So, do you want to introduce yourself? Do you want to tell people about yourself, what you do, where you're from?
But yeah, guys, so I'm Crypto Kenzie. Just a little bit of background about me. I actually got a degree. I actually got a degree in accounting as well.
Oh, so you're educated too then? Trying to make me look.
I remember when we had our pre-talk before this.
Yeah.
And you were talking about how you got like degree in like accounting and finance.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I do too, but we never got to that part. So I was like, dang, I forgot to talk about it.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
So I got my degree in accounting. Just fast forward. I got my degree in accounting. I got myself in, student loan debt, of course, all these other things. And then in 2017, at the end of the last bull market, of course, at the top, somebody literally like I posted on Twitter and on my Instagram a picture of when the first time I bought a Bitcoin, and it was the top of the last bull market. Literally, like I think like the day after the very, very top, but I still caught it like around the top. So it was like, well, technically I just bought the top. It doesn't change where I bought it. But yeah, so I had bought the top. And at first, I was just looking at it because money, number was going up. But my friends had got me immediately into altcoins. Like it wasn't like people don't like that's how I know this next cycle is going to be crazy, because I didn't even get into I got into Bitcoin, but then they told me, no, here, get Litecoin instead, and then send that to Binance. Oh, you got to make a Binance account, and then da 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 da. Yeah. But going back, I got into Bitcoin at the top. And of course I rode it through the whole bear market, just trying to accumulate. But the reason why I stuck around with Bitcoin was actually because of my education in college and whatnot, and learning about ledgers and accounting. So when I realized that Bitcoin is just a digital ledger on the internet that anybody can audit as long as they understand how to read it, I was fascinated by the idea, because I understand as an accountant, every company has their own ledger. You know what I'm saying? Every company can and their ledgers don't talk to each other, but everyone has their own private ledger. Everyone does their books a certain way. Now we have this online digital ledger that, and just to backtrack, when companies have their own ledgers, they need auditors like accountants to audit their ledgers. A third party to come in and saying, yes, you're doing things the right way. Good. Now going back to Bitcoin, this online digital ledger that anybody can audit, that you don't need a third party to audit, because if you just put in the work, you can do it yourself. And so once I realized what that was, I'm like, this is revolutionary. Yeah. What in the world? Where's this thing been this whole time? Guys, you don't see it. But of course, all people see is number go up, and they don't see the blockchain in the background. They don't even understand why number go up. And so attaching a digital ledger to this monetary thing of a coin and giving it scarce properties like only 21 million, I was sold. Because I was just like, nah, this is the future. This is clearly the future. This is
just to interject. So just how far after you sort of bought into Bitcoin did you kind of go on a journey and find all about the ledger? Or did you know when you purchased Bitcoin the first time it was the ledger, or did it take you a while to
no. So of course it was Christmas time, and I had like about 2 weeks vacation.
Okay.
And so I'm on my 2 week vacation, and it's like the beginning of my 2 week vacation, and friend got me into Bitcoin, told me to buy at the top, I bought some, And then I was like, all right. And then and then he's like, here, this is a wallet address. And I'm like, what in the world is this? And so I was like, man, this is weird, bro. Let me look this up a little bit. So I started looking it up. I started researching. I started watching YouTube videos. I started finding websites, forums, and when I say I went down the rabbit hole, shoom. So those 2 weeks, I educated myself on Bitcoin as much as possible. And so I was over here reading up, learning. And then as I'm reading and learning, I realized, oh, shoot, I'm so late to this. Oh my God, I'm so late. Man, what do these altcoins do?
Okay.
And so I got caught up in the altcoins and whatnot, not knowing that, granted, like the first month I was definitely making money in altcoins.
Okay.
And then after the first month, I held on, not knowing what was really going on.
Okay.
So that's essentially my story and how I got started.
Right.
But throughout the bear market, I continued to learn. I continued to find the influential people in the space.
Yeah.
And I've just pushed myself. And because at the end of the day, I still had that initial spark of, I know what this is, coming from an accounting background. It's crazy how Bitcoin works in the sense of the different layers it hits and different industries it hits. First, it was like a cyberpunk, real nerdy thing.
Yeah.
Then, you got the early people who are really into tech that got into it. Then you got more sophisticated investors looking at it. Now we're the avenues for institutional investors are starting to become open.
Yeah.
And so that's essentially what's happening now. And it's I'm going to say it's how do I put it? It's exciting to be part of this right now. And realizing that a lot of people still aren't paying attention as much as we're talking about this. A lot of people don't even own $1 of Bitcoin, and that's shocking to me.
So why do you feel that a lot of people? Let me just track back a bit. So, just in terms of me, and I've put myself out there as a Bitcoin person. And hi, but I don't feel that I am converting many people. That's my personal opinion. But I still continue to put out my content. Why do you feel it's such a hard thing to get across, or hard for people to understand? What do you think the major challenges with people understanding Bitcoin?
The biggest challenge, I think the initial problem is Bitcoin can do so much because it's so much. Understanding Bitcoin, it really does take research and time to understand what this is. I was able to understand it from the ledger background, being a digital ledger. I understood that part. And then I started understanding sound money and this and that, and patterns and trading and all that. I learned those things after. And so I think the thing is, Bitcoin attracts to people in different ways.
Yeah,
and it's like,
totally.
Yeah, it really does. It attracts people in different ways. You got people in Africa using it as money, but us here in America, we're using it as a store of value, as an investment, while they're using it as like real money, like back and forth. And so I think here in America, especially here in America, people haven't seen the reason they need it. They just see, and so they get manipulated by the media of, oh, don't worry about this. This is for drug dealers. This is that. Oh, don't. And a lot of people don't realize us in America, we are completely not in tune of what's going on in the world. I'm not gonna lie. We have no clue what's like. When people say that, it's true. We have no clue what's going on in the world. I've started learning more about like the world by getting into Bitcoin, because I learned how like how Bitcoin affects different countries, how Bitcoin affects different economies, and how the smallest economies are the ones that is where the Bitcoin is flourishing the most.
Yeah.
And that's so I think it's so hard for people to get into Bitcoin because they haven't had that need to get into Bitcoin. Wow, in places where Bitcoin needs to be, where it needs to be understood, it gets understood quickly. You have to understand sound money politics. You have to understand technology. You have to understand, like, it's too much for a regular person to understand, and it takes time. And nobody wants to take time on something. We're so privileged to instant gratification.
Yeah.
I send you money on Cash App or a debit card. Money's there instantly. You don't have to wait for it. But on Bitcoin, I gotta wait for the transaction to confirm. This is kind of weird. I don't, you know what I'm saying? So I think that's what really causes the barrier of just how many layers of Bitcoin there are and what Bitcoin means to so many people, that sometimes when you try to focus on one thing, it's not enough to sell whoever you're talking to, But I personally don't try to sell the idea of Bitcoin.
Definitely not.
I really don't, because I think that's what a lot of Bitcoin people like. Once you like initially you're like, I gotta tell everybody, and then once you realize nobody cares,
no one cares. No one cares.
Once you realize nobody cares,
my heart. But it's but I don't tell anyone to buy Bitcoin. I literally try to put the case for it in front of people, and then do your research. You have to leave people to their own devices, and not everybody is going to be open to this sort of conversation. But what I was just going to say is that it's actually good that you're accountant, because you'll probably understand is, although I've kind of studied sort of economics, finance, worked, as a qualified accountant, and worked in an finance industry for about 20 years. I don't think I understood money until properly, like,
don't do it.
And it's crazy to think, I spent all those years in these academic institutions, and in practical experience, but it's only until I got into the Bitcoin space that the penny dropped about money. And I think that's a major block of why people don't understand Bitcoin. It's because they just don't understand money.
That's by design.
Yeah,
it's
totally.
Literally by design.
Totally,
we're designed not to understand money.
Yeah. Because I remember, no
conspiracy theory, but it's
I actually remember as a little kid, like, going up to my mum and saying, she had, I don't know, £10 or £20 note, and I mean, I don't know what words I used, but I just remember kind of asking something like, why is this worth anything? Why is this valuable? Like, kind of asking. I don't know how I can't remember how I articulated that, but I can remember my mum saying, "Shut up and go away," basically, like, in African, like, shut up, dismissing me. Not, and obviously because I was probably annoying, but she didn't know the answer of what money is, right? And I just think even really educated people don't know what money is. And so with Bitcoin, it kind of challenges or hits your ego. Like, so some people, when they first come across it, they don't want to understand it, because it kind of unravels a lot of their expensive education. Yeah.
And not only that, but it makes them feel like they missed out on something when they realize, what? This has been around how long? I've missed the boat already.
And I don't think people have. I generally think, even at 20,000, if we're saying it is what it is, and if it's and we know the protocol is built to be scarce, it's still undervalued. It's still undervalued.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We're still trying to figure out prices. This is all this volatility, all this whatever. This is all price discovery. We don't know how to value this thing yet. That's why the prices skyrocket. And I mean, granted that there's supply and demand, there's the stock to flow model. There's all these different models that try to explain what's happening. Here's my thing. We have no clue as the human society how to value Bitcoin yet. And so one day we value it at $10,000, and 6 months later, we value it at $20,000. And these wild price swings are the signs of an early market. You don't
Yeah.
get these wild price swings in other markets, or at least not per se, because because they're so wrapped around regulation, and not only that, but because they've been around so long,
Hmm.
um it's just not there. But here we have the opportunity, and yes, I'm talking about making money. We have the opportunity to wildly speculate on the price of Bitcoin, because the more people push out this rhetoric of it's going to 100K, it's going to we are going to, and I know this, we're going to manifest it to 100K. Now, is it going to be tomorrow? Is it going to be next year? Is it going to be in 2 years? Is it going to be in 10 years when one Bitcoin hits 100K? Nobody knows. But we know it, we know it will, because there are people that truly believe that it will, and that will not sell until that price target. And then once that price target is hit, then it's on to the next one. Okay, we made it to 100K. Now let's send it to 1 million. And that's honestly how it's gonna work.
I think
It
so too. I really do. I really do. And
and so
yeah, you're right on the volatility. That's driven by price discovery, but it's also driven by a relatively low liquidity. The liquidity is quite low in Bitcoin. 300 billion.
hit it on the head. Hit
That's
it on
that's
the head.
tiny compared to, let's say, gold is what, 12 billion. And not to even think of the the stock market and other sort of markets. Bitcoin is tiny, but the
And
small liquidity really tells you there's a lot of upside. There's a lot of upside in Bitcoin.
yeah, I don't see, there goes another layer of trying to understand this market. What
Yeah.
do you mean low liquidity? I mean, and for
Okay.
people who don't get it,
Yeah. Sure.
we
Sure. Break it
mean
down.
in regular stocks. So let's compare it to gold. Gold has a $9 trillion market cap, or essentially there's $9 trillion sitting in the gold market, just sitting there. Over time, that money has built in there,
Yeah.
but that's what it is. That's the market cap. That's how much money is in this market. Bitcoin's market cap, what are we sitting at right now?
I think it's like 300.
Like
Yeah.
300 billion.
That's
Like,
tiny.
yeah, 347 billion, almost $350 billion
Yeah.
sitting in the Bitcoin. Now, we just said 9 trillion to gold, to 300 billion to Bitcoin. And if Bitcoin is supposed to, and the reason why I bring up gold is because Bitcoin's supposed to be this digital gold.
Yeah. Of course. Yeah.
Bitcoin is supposed to be this new paradigm. Even if Bitcoin gets to just one, I guess that's not 1%. That if it gets to 10% of the gold market cap, if it gets to just 1 trillion, we're talking what?
It's about
A
5x.
3x from
Yeah.
here?
3x. Yeah. About 3x. Yeah.
3x from
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
20.
Yeah.
And
3x.
I'm sorry. Let me. I just had to do the math because we're talking about numbers here.
Yeah. It's a 3x.
With 18,000, well, let's say 19, just around
Mm.
times three. That's simple math, but we're talking $57,000 for one Bitcoin. Now, and then this is where wild speculation goes.
Mhm.
But if Bitcoin is $57,000 for one, what in the world are these other ones gonna be worth? Because we know there's when there's this kind of money we're playing with, there's a whole lot of greed. And so
and speculation and
and
yeah,
but we're
and
not gonna
gambling.
focus on Bitcoin today. We're gonna
Yeah,
focus
yeah, of
on
course.
Bitcoin
Okay, this is
today for
yeah, yeah.
sure.
Mm.
But that's and so now you've got this perpetual, oh, we're gonna get rich. Because the last cycle people got rich, but it was the people who understood what they were doing, people who've been in the space for a while.
Mhm.
So sorry, I just went on. I don't even remember the original question. Going back to market cap, trying to
Scratching my
explain it.
head.
So
It's cool, yeah.
Bitcoin's market cap, there's almost $350 billion in this Bitcoin market cap. So let's say it's this. It's easier to turn this into this than to turn this into this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's harder to make something that has so much money double. Like how
Yeah.
to double $9 trillion, you got to put another 9 trillion in there.
Yeah.
To double 350 billion, you got to put another 350 billion in there. And guess
Never looked
what?
at it like that. I've never looked at it like that. That's actually quite a good way to put it. Yeah.
A good. I've tried to. I feel like I've said the same thing 10 different ways. I finally found the good one that makes sense.
That yeah, it dropped for me on that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
And so you have 9 trillion. You need another 9 trillion to double it. Well, we have 350 billion. All we need is another 350 billion. And the Federal Reserve and all these governments, they print in trillions. So what do you mean? Like, how are we not to expect that this market is gonna just ridiculously grow over time? When we have literal institutional individuals, people who run hedge funds, CEOs who run hedge funds, mutual funds, they're all looking. We got, and this has been killed a lot. We've got companies like MicroStrategy saying, hey, we've got a lot of cash we just have so much cash. And you know what? We're just going to take all our cash and we're just going to put it in Bitcoin. Why? Because the Fed keeps printing money and we don't want our cash to just sit here and devalue. So we're just going to put it all in Bitcoin and keep it moving.
So the MicroStrategy,
that was such good publicity. That was such good publicity.
Let me ask you a question. So how did you feel, or what was your sort of feeling when you heard that deal? What did what was your instincts? How did you feel when you heard that?
Okay. So that was a couple of things that went through my mind. One, back in early 2018, when I first got in, there were a bunch of companies rebranding themselves to I don't know if you remember Kodak. Kodak was coming out with a blockchain. That raised their stock prices.
Gassing,
Long Island Iced Tea changed their name to Long Island Blockchain Iced Tea. And so at first I thought, oh, MicroStrategy, they're getting Bitcoin. They must be trying to pump their stock price. Yeah. Granted, their stock price is killing it.
It's killing it right now, you know.
It's killing. And so now we've got and so it's crazy paradigm because now we have Bitcoin companies that aren't Bitcoin companies.
Nope.
It's look at how many avenues Bitcoin is seeping into. It's scary. But when I first heard that news, it was just more solidification of, oh, you're buying at 9,000, because he was buying on Coinbase around 9-10,000, and I was telling myself, motherfucker, I bought at 3K. What are you talking about? I mean, I've been dollar cost averaging the whole time, so I've been buying at 20. I've been buying the whole time, but to see that, oh my God, I was like, What you mean? I got it before. This is one thing I love about this space. There's one thing I love about this space. A lot of the memes and a lot of the references that the space likes to grab from, they like to grab from the Wolf of Wall Street. They like to grab from the Big Short, and and I love those movies to death because I just like, I don't know why I always it was always the part of the dirty money, it was the crazy stuff that happens in finance. Like, it was the part of finance that I always wanted to like get into, but I never really got into because I thought that's what accounting was. I thought going into accounting,
we got lied to.
I was lied to.
What I signed up for?
What you thought this was? And so and so that's why I love the space. But yeah, so when I heard the MicroStrategy, I was over here like, yeah, I got in before you. And this is probably gonna, I thought it was a gimmick at first, like, oh, they're just trying to increase their stock price. But recently just seen the CEO of MicroStrategy. He's on them.
Have you watched interviews? He's a
he's sold
guy.
He is sold.
So sharp. Seriously,
bro. He like, I don't think you understand.
And I've watched about 8-10 interviews with him.
Bro,
he says the same shit, but this guy.
I don't think you understand, bro. He's simping. It. Like, it's over. He's a Bitcoiner. He's done. He's got it. You know what I'm saying?
The funny thing, in 2013, he actually sent out a Twitter saying Bitcoin is a scam or whatever. He sent that, and they asked him about it, and he's like, I did send it. I don't even remember sending it.
You have to.
He said he definitely
were wrong. Too many egos, bro. Especially when you're like a CEO of a company and everything went right the way you wanted it to. You have a big ego, and so he's like, he didn't want to say I was wrong, but he didn't want to say like, I don't remember sending that tweet. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just proved. You know what you didn't believe at first. Now it's like, oh no,
I didn't. And I remember saying to my barber, shout out Barber D, when he asked me in 2014, about 2014, what do I think about this Bitcoin thing? And I said, and obviously I'm an accountant, he knows I'm an accountant. So it's like, as a finance man, what do you think about this Bitcoin thing? And I was like, it's a scam. Don't run away. Don't put your money in it. And I always forget. And if I would have literally gone and done my research, then
that's it. It.
Where would I be, bro? Where would I be? So that's right. This has taught me a lot about myself and just how I just approach general ideas and just question.
I can't call anything a scam anymore.
Yeah,
I really can't. I'm like, you know what? It looks scammy, but let me see how it works. Do your own research is now like my mom. Like,
you have to.
Bitcoin really changes people. It really does.
It really does.
But that was the MicroStrategy.
Yeah.
Like I said, the man is sold on Bitcoin. It's over. The way he's speaking. I literally
he's everywhere as well. Everywhere. Everywhere. Every interviewing everybody. He's just like
everybody. He's talking because you have to think about it. This is a company that took all their cash on their balance sheet and put it into Bitcoin. That's it. Like, instead of buying up their own stocks, because that's what most of these companies do. They buy up their own stocks, prop up the price of stocks, all that. And they're like, you know what? We're going to put this in Bitcoin. And that just sent a shockwave because now you have it's just going to be a trickle effect. They're just waiting. Like, literally all these other companies are just waiting. They're waiting for the price to go down. They're waiting. And when they realize it's not going to go down to a certain point that they think it's going to go down.
FOMO.
Boom. Because people think that only retail people FOMO. And that's a lie. Because They're gonna FOMO because just like how he thought it was a scam back in whenever, they think it's a scam now. Wait till that shit cracks 20K and goes to 22 and then comes back down. And they're gonna be like, no. This isn't this dick. Guys, I don't think this man doubled his balance sheet in a couple of months.
Yeah, that's insane. That
That's what I think about
MicroStrategy. And the thing is, he's like
publicity.
Just a bit more on Michael Saylor. He's got no intention of selling that Bitcoin.
Oh, I don't think he sold. I don't think he's quoting Satoshi in these interviews. He's quoting Satoshi in these interviews. Yeah. This man's done. He's sold. It's funny. He's passing these coins down. Like I don't think did you know he bought his coins on Coinbase? Of course.
Yeah. I found that yesterday that it was
because of course
transaction. Yeah.
Of course, because the news came out, and of course now it comes like he bought it back way when, now the news comes out that he bought it on Coinbase. And he took it off of Coinbase after he bought it, and started storing it in his own wallets. And so seeing that shows me he did his 100% research and realized my coins can't sit on this exchange. Thank you, but this is going in the war chest for a very
just to add one more
time.
thing. Just to add one more thing on that, he also bought 100 million worth of Bitcoin for his own for himself. This is in addition to what he purchased using the company's treasuries. He bought his own 100 million stash from his own pocket in addition. So
filthy.
Damn.
Filthy, bro. When we see publicity like that, that kind of publicity, I don't need to tell anybody anything. All I got to do is wait. That's it.
Do you see this? Because if we're honest with ourselves, MicroStrategy, in terms of company sizes, is relatively small.
Of course.
Do you see this translating to sort of your larger sort of multinational corporations? Do you see them looking at Bitcoin as a solution to sort of moving their treasuries to Bitcoin?
I think these big companies are gonna wait to see what happens to MicroStrategy for their decision. MicroStrategy was the first to dip their toe. And that's all good. Like that was just from the treasury standpoint as a company holding this in their treasury. But we've got other companies like Cash App who've been accepting Bitcoin and allowing people to buy Bitcoin on Cash App for like at least a year, like 2 years now. I believe it's 2 years. I don't quote me. I believe it's 2 years. Every quarter, they've been reporting profit from allowing people, like, I believe I reported on it last month, but Bitcoin, the like trades in Bitcoin and people buying Bitcoin off of Cash App made up, 2/3 of their revenue last quarter. Other companies are going to see that and say, hey, we're leaving money on the table. This is like, there's someone right now saying, how can we make money off of Bitcoin? Especially these like finance apps and all these manager money apps. How can we incorporate Bitcoin into our finance app? Because Cash App did it, and it's like a majority of it's 2/3 of their revenue last quarter. These companies can't look at that and say, no, we're not going to do it. That's a failing company. And so I see finance apps and banks, and trust me, banks are going to get into it too. They're going to find a way for you to buy Bitcoin, and that's just going to increase adoption. Now, when it comes to companies keeping it as a treasury, from their putting it on their balance sheet, I think that's going to be a slower trickle effect. They're going to wait to see how MicroStrategy did it. Like, they're going to wait to see it because MicroStrategy had to buy it on spot. Yeah. There's too many big companies. Like, if OTC, over the counter trading, is really drying up as they say it is, there's not going to be enough liquidity for these big companies to put it in their treasuries because they've got big treasuries. That was just MicroStrategy putting in 400 million. Exactly. Wait till you get, and that was such a small company, such an unknown company. But granted, it was a profitable company, very profitable company. Their margins were ridiculous. Like, what?
I'm surprised I've never heard of this company, but
never heard of this company. But apparently they've been. And that goes to show you, like, stocks, like it's really more of a hype game because this company has just been consistently providing. Like, I had to look into them, and year after year, they just like, oh yeah, we're profitable. We're even more profitable this year. But their stock price does not reflect how profitable the company is.
Yeah. Did you hear the story? I think on a few interviews, he talked about how sort of Michael Saylor talked about the domain names that he sold. Like, he owned like voice.com and angel.com, and this is like before the domain name exploded, but he could see where it was going, so he bought lots of domain names for about sort of, maybe it was quite expensive. I mean, 1 million or 2 million a piece, and then he sold them for like millions because it just shows that he had an idea and a really core understanding of digital scarcity. The fact, if you have something which is scarce on the internet, the value will go up. And I think he took that understanding into that Bitcoin transaction around digital scarcity. If we have something where the demand is going, and so
you've been doing your research.
Sorry, I got a bit of a croaky throat.
It's okay. It's okay.
But no, I mean, digital scarcity is a phrase that I've only kind of realized and understood coming into this space, and it just explains why so many things are the way they are, and it kind of underpins my belief of Bitcoin. So
for sure. It's digital scarcity, digital real estate, as other people call it. Digital. I call it digital real estate. I need my little real estate in this Bitcoin right here. So let me go ahead and take my little piece of land right here and hold on to it until somebody's willing to pay me stupid amounts of money for it. You can have some of it, but I can't give you all of it. But that's just the honest truth. So that's what I'm excited. I'm excited for these companies to FOMO, because when they FOMO, it's gonna be we're talking about price, but it's gonna be a wild when they FOMO. It's gonna be cross fingers that I can hold on.
There's quite a lot of people who don't see the value of Bitcoin, and quite a few sort of educated investors who say that Bitcoin has no intrinsic value. What would you say to that?
So I never really understood the concept of intrinsic value. At the end of the day, I look at my bank account, I looked at my crypto account, and it has value. I could care. I don't care what intrinsic value is. All I know is somewhere, somehow, someone's willing to pay X amount of rubles, dollars, this for this. I don't care. I don't care. Now, granted, see, this is the problem, is because I don't really understand what intrinsic value means. And so I can't really debate that. Look, if we've got the Venezuelan government, I'm sorry, we have the Venezuelan.
Venezuelan.
They go Venezuelan.
Yeah.
Why do I say Vel? What was going on? Venezuelan
Long day.
military deciding to mine Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies.
Yeah.
If we've got people
Iran.
in Africa, we've got people in Africa using it as a thing to trade. Like, they're using it as trade for goods and services.
Yeah, exchange. Exchange. Yeah.
People are using it as a place to save their wealth.
Argentina. Yeah.
It's got all the value it needs. You know, intrinsic value, true value. It's got all the value. When I see people say that, it just means that either they're trying to push the narrative down, they're trying to push the price down, or I don't know, they just may not have enough, or maybe they truly just don't understand it.
Yeah.
And that's just how, like, a lot of especially older people, a lot of older people did not understand the internet and did not believe it had intrinsic value. Look at them now. You look into now, you know what I'm saying? So I believe Bitcoin has all the value it needs. I think it doesn't have to be everything. It can be exactly what it is today and continue to be valuable in my eyes, you know? So that's that. I wouldn't even argue with them. I'm like, whatever you say, I'm still gonna have it in my wallet right here, accruing value, and I'm still gonna buy more.
Let's talk a little bit about altcoins, because I tend to focus on Bitcoin because obviously this is really a Bitcoin platform. You're clearly not a Bitcoin maximalist, so you do see an opportunity for other cryptocurrencies to obviously stake a claim in this bull run. And what other coins are you looking at, if any, and why?
Okay. Just to get I don't want to get into specifics, because then people will get iffy. But personally, me, I truly believe, like, right now, I believe Ethereum has a case, just because of what's being built on it. Chainlink, I believe Chainlink has a case because what they've been building. And we'll just leave it at those two, because once I start looking down this list, I'm like, it gets really, like, I see Bitcoin, I see Ethereum, Chainlink, and then it goes, I don't know.
A lot of gambles in there.
I don't know. I mean, granted, I'm invested in some of these things, and I'm sitting here saying, I don't know. Yeah. But I think, here's the thing. I think there is money to be made in altcoins for sure. There's definitely, because just off the pure speculation of will these things go up, I believe, like, that's truly a opportunity to make some serious money.
Yeah.
But I don't think people really understand how that really happens. So these things go in cycles, in the sense of Bitcoin rises, altcoins rises, Bitcoin steadies out for a while, altcoins explode, and then Bitcoin crashes, and then altcoins crash even harder. Bitcoin and altcoins, they have this dynamic because that's just how the money flows in the cryptocurrency space. When it comes to a lot of these altcoins, I just think it's almost like a game of hot potato. We're going to pump up the price. If you're willing to buy it, sucker, at this price, then the price drops and sells. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because if Bitcoin is an illiquid market, think about how illiquid the rest of these are.
Yeah.
Like, it's almost like we're playing with penny stocks. It really, it's almost like we're playing with penny stocks. And so I think the narrative is who's the bigger sucker when it comes to altcoins. Who, you know what I'm saying, who's going to buy my bags? Who's going to do that? But when it comes to Bitcoin, it's just a whole different narrative. You know, it's got so much going for it. These altcoins are more like companies because they have figureheads and faces and people who can do things that to the network that other people can't.
Yeah,
So,
totally.
That's how I feel like when like there's money to be made, but when you're in altcoins, you truly have to understand that it's almost the greater fool's theory when it comes to altcoins. And I'm gonna be honest, I do see some value in some of these altcoins, but the value I see, a regular person won't see it, you know? And so I'm waiting for the mass of retail that have no clue what they're doing to buy up my bags. and I'm betting on the stupidity of people. That's why I'm invested in altcoins, because I'm investing in the stupidity of people when they get into this market. And I know that's a terrible thing to say.
Yeah, a little.
I'm just gonna tell the truth.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna tell the truth.
Yeah,
you know.
And how much is that? How much is that? Because you were part of that, I guess, that retail stupidity wave at one point, and you're basically handing over the bag. Is that what it is?
I'm handing over the baton. I'm handing over the baton. It's cynical thinking about it that way.
Yeah.
But sometimes that's where my mind goes. I'm like, no, this is what I mean. Granted, all this technology and all these new ways and this and that, that's great. When the time comes, I'm going to pass the baton to the next person. Now it's your turn to hold on to this for 3 years and question why the price is going down.
Okay, and why does Bitcoin differ? Because like we need to really differentiate Bitcoin from all these altcoins, or as some people will call them, shit coins. How does Bitcoin differ?
Bitcoin was the first. Just the monetary policy around Bitcoin is different when it comes to the 21 million, when it comes to all these Bitcoin doesn't have a figurehead. Yes, it has a figurehead. It has Satoshi Nakamoto, but that persons, whatever, is gone. You can ask them no questions. And so that's the main reason why it's different. It was first. There's no figurehead, so that means there's no one to go after. There's no one to complain to. There's no one to this and that. And frankly, it's got the best marketing. Us, unlike some of these other cryptocurrencies that have to go to different companies to market and this and that. Bitcoin surviving alone. Next thing you know, a CEO is gonna have some Bitcoin of a marketing firm, and he's just gonna put it out there. He's gonna put out an ad saying Bitcoin's amazing. That's free publicity. Bitcoin gets so much free publicity, unlike these altcoins that don't.
Yeah.
There's a ridiculous gap between Bitcoin and these altcoins. And just to like visualize that real quick, Bitcoin by itself, almost $350 billion market cap, right?
Yeah.
The closest thing to it is Ethereum, $65 billion market cap. That's like 4 or 5 times different. And then after Ethereum, then it drops even less, quicker. You know, by the time you get to the number 7 coin, we're at $5 billion market cap. We just went from 350 billion to the number 7 coin, not number 150 something, the number 7.
Yeah.
350 billion
Yeah.
5 billion. So we see there's a big gap between these altcoins and Bitcoin.
Cool.
And that's a fact.
Yeah. So just kind of looking at sort of the macroeconomic environment and where we are right now, and obviously, 2020 just been a bitch of a year. Let's be honest with it. It's been a mad one. How much do you feel that the 2020, what's happened with the sort of COVID-19 crisis, how much has that driven home and sort of increased visibility on the value proposition of Bitcoin, and how much has that accelerated Bitcoin's price performance?
That's an easy answer. When COVID hit, there's less cash. People wanted to transact less in cash. People wanted to be more touchless, more seamless, more just all that. So, and not only that, but cash started running out. We started running out of cash.
Yeah.
So
when you say running out of cash, I need a bit more explanation. That I think that's a US phenomenon. So you might have to break that down for us.
So here in the US, a lot of people don't know. Well, when like in the midst of COVID, like deep in the midst of COVID, all these different, because only restaurants were open and things. All these different restaurants were saying we don't have any physical coins. We're running out of coin. Like literally, they like restaurant after restaurant. We have no physical coin.
Actually, Bitcoin Vegan was telling me about this, and I was just scratching my head with this. Okay, all right, yeah.
They literally were telling because they didn't have any. They were literally running out of cash because they didn't have enough cash. There wasn't enough cash in the system. Like, and the media never really played, our media never really showed that aspect of what was going on because they didn't want people to worry. But the printing press couldn't print enough money for it to circulate. Wow. And so that's what happened. And so people moved to this cashless, digital, I'm going to pay with my phone, I'm going to pay with my credit card. And so once people, and not only that, but multiple companies, during COVID, internet companies, Zoom, all these different full internet-based companies were booming. They weren't feeling the effects as other physically retail-based companies were. So you can see the acceleration to digital of what that did. Now people have moved to this cashless, like I'm going to use my debit card more. I'm going to use my phone more to pay for things. And they're going to want to use cash less because cash is dirty. Cash is this, cash is that. And I think that also helped the price of Bitcoin because now that people are moving more digital, they're looking at more digital things. They're looking at more these ideas of like going fully digital. And of course, what you're going to have, a fully digital money. And so that's how I feel like COVID actually helped Bitcoin, because not only that, but Bitcoin survived COVID. That's the thing that people don't really say. Bitcoin if this thing was
no vaccination, it survived. Bitcoin.
It survived, no vaccination. But no. If Bitcoin was gonna go to zero, it would have went to zero during COVID.
Yeah, 100%. And, I agree with that.
I mean, granted, it did go down to like 14K. I get it got low. It got down there, but it didn't go to zero.
Yeah.
And once that really hits, and I think that really started hitting these past couple of months.
Yeah.
Once that like people are starting to see it. Wait a second.
Buy that effing dip.
It's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
It's not being destroyed. It's not being bludgeoned. It's not going to zero. It's going to add another zero. That's what it's going to do. It's going to add another zero to the end. And so that's how I feel like this pandemic affected why, how, and the fact that it not only that, but it accelerated because now people are moving more digital. So thank you, pandemic. I like to call it the pandemic. Thank you, pandemic.
But just in terms of the sort of COVID and, all the the stimulus and the furlough and the money printing that came as a result of governments trying to find solutions. Do you feel that has, the idea of inflation and inflating money supply, has that people woken up to that, and has that stimulated the price of Bitcoin as well? Would you say, or not, or no? Or people just don't care. People just don't know.
People just don't care.
Okay.
They don't. The mass majority of people do not care. Mm-hmm. Granted, people who understand money and finances, mm-hmm. they care and they understand what's happening. But no,
I guess what I'm asking is smart money seeing what's going on in the world and saying, I mean, institutions, there are smart money, there are Paul Tudor Jones, there are obviously
the Michael Saylors. Yeah. You see
are
them.
they looking at the situation?
No, they see it. That's why they're here now.
Yeah.
That's why their names keep coming up. Wait till the next billionaire hedge fund shows up. Yeah, the BlackRock, this, that, like they're all seeing it. They get it. They're moving to the next system. And they're just like, we can't keep doing this. This doesn't look like it's gonna be able. We can't support this much longer. And when much longer could mean 10 years, it could mean 20 years, but they can't, this isn't sustainable. And they know it because history has proven that this isn't sustainable. Mm-hmm. We all, like, if we go through, what was it? Mike Maloney, he's a really big gold bug, but he had this great documentary. He's on YouTube. All of it's free. And he goes through all the different types of paper currency that humans have created over the years, mm-hmm. and how all these different types of paper currencies have all failed.
Go to zero. Yeah.
They all went to zero. All these different types of paper currency went to zero. What makes you think the ones we have now aren't? If history has shown us that they do.
It's quite crazy. It's just like, I guess, our generation and sort of our parents' generation and probably our kids, we've all been born in a, I guess, US how do you say it? Homogeny? I don't know. A US kind of dollar
regime
currency, reserve currency, and so we're of the mindset that this is how it's always been. But actually, when you look at the US dollar as a central reserve currency, it's only been there for like, was it 70, 80, 90 years, something like that? So
what was it? The Bretton Woods Agreement.
Yeah,
the Bretton Woods Agreement. It hasn't been that long.
No.
It hasn't been
to last. Reserve currencies, I think before that, the British pound sterling was a reserve currency, and I think France had a time, and the Dutch had a time of a reserve currency, and the average time period for each reserve currency is about 90, 100 years. Yeah, about 90, 100 years.
A human lifespan.
So we're pretty much coming to the end, but I mean, not to spook everybody, but some would say we are getting to that point where there will be friction in some way.
Because the U.S. government isn't gonna just let that go.
No.
Not
with that war machine. Not with that war machine.
What war? It hasn't even. Look, we're U.S. is going to create I don't want to go into another conspiracy, but U.S. is going to create another war. There somehow, some way, because they need it so they can hold on to their dominance. But the way that the U.S. government goes to war now, they don't. We don't physically go to war as much as we go to war with tariffs and sanctions and things like we go through financial wars now. At least that's how once I got into Bitcoin, that's what I started seeing. Oh, we do financial wars now. That makes sense now. Okay, cool. But
so would you, I guess, looking at another country, I know you've mentioned Venezuela, another country which is kind of under sanctions, which is really investing sort of resource into Bitcoin, is Iran. And that's a country which is always put out there as a potential war hotspot with the US, and they're directly sort of evading sanctions by the use of Bitcoin for exports and imports. Do you think this is something that we're going to see from a lot of nation states? Now, I mean, we've talked a lot about institutions. Obviously, the next step will be nation states using Bitcoin in their treasury. Do you feel that's something that we'll see, or probably happening?
Afghanistan's already started.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. Afghanistan's already they were the first. They were the first to say, "Hey, we will accept Bitcoin."
Did not know that.
Yeah. There's Afghanistan was the first. They've already started. It's the nation states that the America has done the worst to, that are going to be the first to jump on the Bitcoin bandwagon. That trust me, it's gonna happen. The ones that don't get invited to the United Nations and don't get, no, seriously, the ones that don't get invited to these big talks, the ones that aren't considered, big enough to be here, they're the ones that are gonna go for it first.
Interesting.
And so it's going to be a trickle effect. There's going to be a small trickle effect, but it's going to get there. And I believe it's just a matter of time. That's all it is. It's just a matter of time to wait, but we'll get there.
So Kenzie, Crypto Kenzie, Bitcoin is going to the moon. Let's talk a little bit more about predictions. Where do you think this is going?
Okay, this is easy work. I think this is the easy part, man. This is the real easy part.
Before we close out, let's start touching upon some predictions. In crypto Twitter, you get, all sorts of predictions. You've got sort of analysts like Willy Woo yesterday coming out saying a 200,000 Bitcoin by December 2021 is conservative. And you've got the Winklevoss brothers, who quite reputable guys in the game. They've got a paper called "The Case for 500k Bitcoin," and you've even got Citibank. Citibank.
Oh yeah, I remember the Citibank
report coming out saying a 318k Bitcoin is possible by next year, as well as Dr. Flo model. So there's a lot of analysts, some more reputable than others, with fairly optimistic and bullish predictions for Bitcoin in the next few years. So where do you think this is going? And let's look at it from December 2021. Let's talk about where we see ourselves this time next year, and then we can sort of reach out in the line of sight, sort of that 5 years and 10 years down the line. So where do you think we're landing? And I'm going to play this back to you in a year.
You were wrong. Look, especially like when I remember 2018 when people were predicting, oh, Bitcoin's going back to 20K by the end of the year. Oh, Bitcoin ETF before you know it. Predictions have gotten numb to me now. Like, I guess 500K. You know what? $1 million by next year. How about that?
Yeah.
Do you remember the McAfee prediction?
He'll eat.
He'll eat his own. Like he'll eat his own private parts if Bitcoin doesn't hit $1 million in the next 25 days.
That guy's a criminal. He's just a criminal anyway. But anyway, that's
so you like me. All these bullish predictions kind of scare me because yeah, all these bullish predictions kind of scare me because um there was no case for Bitcoin a year ago. There was no, like, you know what I'm saying? Last year I predicted that we wouldn't even touch 20K. We wouldn't even get close to it. And look at us now. I was completely wrong. Not only did we touch it in some exchanges, we passed it in some exchanges.
Mm.
We're at 18K right now. Like what? I mean, granted, 18,700 just to be, if we're at 18K, people would be losing their minds. But we're at this level, and I didn't even expect us to be here. Now everyone's so bullish. Now everyone's so expecting Bitcoin to hit ridiculous numbers next year. Kind of makes me think that it won't. And I know that's weird, but my prediction for Bitcoin at the end of 2021, I want it to be at like 50K. I want it to be at like between like 50 to 60K. I would say by the end of the year next year, between 50 to 60K. And that's, that's my conservative guess, because I know that once we make 20K support, it's all from here. But I'm going to keep it conservative and say 50 to 60K, just because of all the companies that are going to come in.
Yeah.
Now, all these predictions of 100K, I think 100K is conservative for 2 years from now. I think 100K is a good conservative guess for 2 years from now. Some people might say, "Oh, that's too long," or so. I'd rather undershoot it and hold on than overshoot it and be sad that we never got there and I held on for another bear market. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna be conservative and say by the end of 2022, if we're not at 100K to 200K by 2022, man, I don't know why I'm in this space. I'm here to make this money. No, we gotta be there by then. You know what I'm saying?
So you would see that as failure if it
yeah, I would think of it as failure if we didn't, because just by the supply and demand, by supply and demand alone, I can see it going there. And granted, Bitcoin's not a failure. My prediction would be a failure, but I truly I truly believe but in the next 2 years, between 100 and 200K for sure. By the end of next year, conservative 50 to 60K per Bitcoin. And that's just conservative because, like I said, once we break 20K, which will probably be I think once we make 20K support, which I believe will be at the end of the first quarter next year, I think we'll make support by that point. That's when, the crazy ride is going to come. And like, it's just to hold on is for dear life. So those are definitely my prediction. I know people may be thinking we're at 18K right now. You really think it's going to go to 100K? You really think it's going to go to 50K, 60K by the end of next year? Yes, I've seen how this thing moves.
Yeah,
we're at 20K and it started at pennies. Yeah. So yes, I can see that kind of move in a couple of years.
So, but even by that fault, I mean, looking at what it's done in sort of the past two cycles, your 50, 60K prediction for next year is pretty conservative.
Low. Yeah,
very conservative.
Bro, if I would go to talk to some Bitcoin people, they'd laugh at me. How noob.
Yes.
Don't worry, you don't understand. Yeah. We control this market.
Yeah.
We control this market. Yeah. We're going to 100.
Yeah, there's people that are really like dead set on it.
So that's how I see it. And that's, like I said, those are my conservative guests. I've seen so many people with more how would I put it, respect in this space be completely wrong when it comes to these predictions.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm like, I'm not afraid to make a prediction, because if this person with all this knowledge and all this, I can't find the word to explain it, but everyone trusts this person when it comes to investing advice. We've got CEOs like Michael Saylor and all this thing, and they're expecting
big boys. There's quite a few
big boys. Big boys are predicting stupid prices. If they can predict super prices and be wrong, then I can predict stupid prices and be 100% wrong and continue with my life. And that's how I feel. That's really how I feel about it.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, when we're talking about pricing, this is not investment advice to anyone. I just want to put that out there.
They didn't know that by now?
Listen, there are a lot of people who would literally take your word as gospel. So it's really just good to give the disclaimers. But but it is what it is. But just in terms of new people who are coming into the space who want to learn about Bitcoin, what would you recommend? Like, obviously, we were both beginners in this space, and what would you say are the best kind of things to learn and best things to read? Your recommendations.
Don't listen to any YouTuber. I know I'm a YouTuber too, but save yourself the stress. Don't buy anything that a YouTuber tells you to buy. Or they don't tell you to buy, but they recommend you do your own research and look. I look, I do the same thing. It's just part of the game. Yeah. But I would say, look up not bitcoin.com, because that's that's Bitcoin Cash. The owners of Bitcoin Cash own Bitcoin. Yeah. Go to bitcoin.org or go to bitcoin.net and start reading on the articles you see on them. Find the Bitcoin white paper. It's difficult to understand from some people, but type in Bitcoin white paper, you'll find it. Read it, realize you don't understand it, and go find something that explains it simpler for you.
Yeah.
That's what I'd say. Do that. Go to some decent forums. I believe a really good one is the bitcoin.pub. That's a really good forum. That's where I started and got a lot of good resource for free. And one thing I would say is don't pay for Bitcoin education, because there's so much education out there for free that it's unnecessary for you to be paying to understand Bitcoin. Well, I'm not going to say you need to be buying it, because that's investment advice, and I'm not giving out investment advice, but save that money for when you're ready to invest in Bitcoin. And just learn. Just sit, read, dig through the forums, and learn and understand why Bitcoin can better your life. And if you don't see a reason why Bitcoin can better your life, then maybe you shouldn't buy it until you understand why it should. Because the answer to that should be really simple once you start understanding what Bitcoin is. It's going to better my life because I know that I can keep my wealth in there and it won't be inflated away by government. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I know I can. That's why I believe in it and I understand it, and why I'm comfortable putting my money on a blockchain. So read Bitcoin.pub. It's a great forum. Bitcoin.net, Bitcoin.org. Great things, great resources for you to find everything you need to know about Bitcoin. That's like I said, don't trust YouTubers. Don't trust them.
Perfect. And social media wise, where can anybody find you? Where can anybody, watch your videos? Yeah, but where can people get in touch?
Of course, you guys can find me at my OnlyFans page at.
Are you twerking on there? Yeah.
I was thinking about making the OnlyFans page and teaching.
Big money to get in there. There's money in there.
You can find me at Crypto Kenzie on Twitter and Instagram at Crypto Kenzie. Be careful of the scammers. And you can also find me on YouTube, Crypto Culture. That's my YouTube page where I make videos and I talk about, of course, I talk about the news. I talk about some speculative altcoins that I've been looking into, and all that good stuff. So Instagram and Twitter at Crypto Kenzie, YouTube, Crypto Culture.
Brilliant. Fantastic. And to close out, just one final question. Is Bitcoin going to the moon?
Can I answer that question with a question?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Do you know where the moon comes from? That whole reference of Bitcoin's going to the moon. Do you know where that comes? It actually. So I want to be a smarty pants. Thank you.
Go ahead.
It actually comes from the Bitcoin Talk Forum. There was an early developer that was talking. These are like early days of Bitcoin, when the people were actually using the Bitcoin Talk Forum to communicate. The very first reference was, if this thing really takes off, it's gonna go to the moon. And from that point on, people are saying Bitcoin's going to the moon. I remember. People don't know that. It actually comes from a developer from the Bitcoin Talk Forum. He referenced, and so from that point on, people just say, but yes, Bitcoin is going to the moon. The question is, how far are you away from your moon? How that's the real, like, it's going to the moon, but how far away from you are you to your moon? Because my moon's around 100, 200K, in that range.
Okay.
Where is your moon at? Is 50K your moon? 50K is your moon. Is 20K your moon? Low key, 20K is some people's moon.
Yeah, if you're in at a penny and you got 20K now, boy, you're good.
You're in a whole different galaxy. Like you're breeding with other aliens, creating alien life. That's where you are.
Yeah, definitely. No, but Kenzie, I really, really appreciate you and wishing you a happy Christmas. Again, when I thought of who I could bring to this podcast to really talk about this subject, I knew you'd come with your brilliant energy and your brilliant life, and it's been one of my most fun podcasts I've done. So I just really appreciate you for your time. Let's keep doing this. Let's keep pushing the word, man.
All right.
Take care, man.
Take it easy.
So what do you think? Don't know what energy drink he's drinking, but he really has a knack for getting you really pumped up and really excited around what's going to happen in this space the next few months and the next few years. So what are my takeaways? To be quite honest, it's just a conversation between two Bitcoiners. And I've done a few of these shows before where we really didn't have any major structure. We were just talking through sort of recent events and where we think that this whole space is going from a price perspective in the next year or so. My major takeaway is Crypto Kenzie's last snippet where he basically said, what's your moon? Different people have different moons. And what I relate that to is, if Bitcoin does have an exponential growth in the next year or so, what level would I tap out, or what level would I take profit? And that's what a lot of people think about. If Bitcoin did explode, when would I say it's done what I need to do and take my money out? And the reason why I'm saying this is because there's a lot of new institutional money coming into Bitcoin. This new institutional money coming into Bitcoin, they have no tap out. They are looking to stay in Bitcoin for the long haul. And you only have to listen to conversations with Mike Saylor. And Mike Saylor, that's a name that's been mentioned many, many times on my podcast. And I would just say, have a listen to a few of his interviews. He's literally the poster boy for Bitcoin right now. And he's someone like me who once said Bitcoin was a scam or wasn't anything of value, who's now, I wouldn't even call it a U-turn. This is like a 720-degree turn. This guy spun around, got back into Bitcoin in a different way. At this point in time, he's now holding 70,000 Bitcoin, which is worth, where's my calculator? It's worth a lot of money. And in a short time, I think 6 months that I think he started in March. In the time that he's been invested in Bitcoin, he's made significant amount of profit for his shareholders. And the reason why I'm bringing him up for this point is someone like Michael Saylor has a 100-year outlook. So he's not in here to make money. Michael Saylor is already a multi-millionaire, if not a billionaire, right? So he has no interest on giving up his Bitcoin, selling it off. And to me, that means there's other billionaires like Michael Saylor who are looking at what he's doing, who are going to come into Bitcoin and they're going to hold on to it. So my message to everybody or any newbies into this space is really have a long-term approach on your Bitcoin. If you amass it, look at it long-term. Yes, you can cash it out within, next year and, buy yourself, I don't know, a new car and all of that. But I don't think Bitcoin's about that. That's what I'm learning. That's my personal view. And I in that respect, I will also say different people have different aspects of how Bitcoin should be used. Some people it's peer-to-peer. Some people it's just a transaction tool. Some people it's actually a way to save. But certainly from the smart money, inverted commas, they've got a long-term approach on this. Although as an individual, I got into Bitcoin technically before Michael Saylor, give myself a little bit of props. He's most certainly smarter money than I am. So really take the opportunity to see what the big boys are doing and really learn is all I'd say. But certainly from Michael Saylor's perspective, he's looking at this with at least 100-year outlook. There's going to be bigger institutions with bigger pockets that follow him into Bitcoin, and they will be looking at Bitcoin as a monetary network that's going to store the value of their money for years to come without any leakage. And what I mean by leakage, without losing any value of the money. In other words, there's going to be more monetary investment pumped into Bitcoin, and it's going to be held by stronger hands, i.e. investors who are not going to sell and they're going to sit on their investment. But anyway, back to Crypto Kenzie. What can I say, man? This guy, we're definitely going to get him back on. We're definitely going to look at how his predictions, which I personally feel are quite conservative, but I respect the fact he's being conservative. I understand, and he's probably taking the right approach. He's an accountant like me. We're very pragmatic, and we try to be risk-averse as possible. So guys, if you want to follow or hear more about Crypto Kenzie, please look at the show notes. All his details are there. He's a top guy, top geezer, very knowledgeable on Bitcoin. So reach out to him, engage with him, and learn from him. Just to end off, this is the last episode for 2020, the last of series 1. It's been emotional, man. It's been a great experience trying to put all of this together. This is such a nuanced topic for so many people. And I guess my numbers really point to that fact. It's really new, it's really early, but I really do think from next year, a lot of the retail crowd are going to work. The normal man or woman in the street is probably going to take a lot more interest. And, you probably get your grandma and your auntie talking to you about Bitcoin. It's been great, it's been amazing, but I think we can do a little better next year. So I'm really looking forward to what 2021 has in store. And guys, just want to say final thank you for your support, your engagement. Please keep liking, sharing, commenting, and engage us. Any questions, please reach out to me. I'm on standby. I'm Bitcoin by Mouse. This is the Genesis Block Education Podcast, and we're signing out for 2020. Peace out.